the WDWL TV Multiplex, live from Grumpy's studio. We bring you the pride of the station, the Two Grumpies, starring the grumpy old man, me, and the grumpy vulture. Take your bow. Very nice, very nice. I was watching some of your relatives today. It was very interesting. I'll talk about it in a bit. But back in your corner. Look at the camera. There you go. Greetings, friends. First of all, I'm using a microphone I haven't used probably in about 6-7 months. I'm going to experiment with the volume. So if it's too loud, I apologize. I'm going to make some adjustments during the show. I'm going to back it down just a bit. So, volume warning, volume alert, until I get this set. See what happens. I marked it with a grease pencil. Handling it, dumbass me forgot. Grease pencil will just wipe right off. So, I bought one of them silvery Sharpies. So once I get the volume set where I think it's great for streaming, I'll mark it with a silver Sharpie. Should have thought of that in the first place, dumbass. And, today I was watching some more of Windows to Wildlife. Yes, I had the other computer turned on, and I had that site on all day long. Because today, oh my God, both parents were going out and making food trips and coming back and feeding the little guys. Oh my God, it was so cute. One of them is a little smaller than the other, because one hatched 2 or 3 days earlier. And it was kind of disturbing me because it appeared that either mother or father, you can't tell them apart, seemed to be feeding the big boy a little more than the little guy. And I was like, hey, we don't want the little guy to starve to death. Well, evidently, whichever parent it is, they play favorites. One would feed the big guy and then a little bit for the little guy. Then the other parent would come back and feed the little guy more than the big guy. So they're actually getting the same amount of food. It's just one is a little smaller than the other. And I did find out they have been formally named. They are Dasher and Dancer, which is a lot better than Connie and Clive. Oh, the Clive gets me. So now we have a little family of 4. Mother and Dad, Connie and Clive, and then Dasher and Dancer. The only thing is, they didn't say which one is which. So I don't know if the big one is Dasher or the big one's Dancer, but yeah, they've been formally named. But it was so neat watching them getting fed by mom and dad. And it was interesting because one seemed to bring back more birds, and the other one brought back fish. They're getting variety in their diet, definitely. But yeah, one would bring back birds because you'd see the feathers, and then one would bring back fish. the interesting is they don't pluck the feathers off. And it was starting to bother me because the little guy got a big chunk of meat with a bunch of feathers on it. And he couldn't get it down. And he was hacking away, and I was like, oh my God, he's gonna die. And then next thing you know, out come a bunch of feathers. And then his head bent back and he swallowed. Must have had a little tickle in his throat. Oh. Yeah, so on YouTube, go in and watch Window to Wildlife. They have cameras all over down in Florida. So you have to kind of look, because like today, there were like 5 or 6 live cameras going. And I wanted to watch the eagles and the eaglets. So you have to kind of pay attention, because the one camera that I watched was an underwater camera. I didn't see many fish. I don't know what's going on with that camera. And then another one was another eagle's nest, but there were no birds in it. So you got to check if you want to watch the little 2 eaglets. Like today, it did say Dasher and Dancer. So I was like, oh, okay. And then I had that stream going all day. And I really enjoyed watching. I've always been big on nature programs. When I had cable, I used to watch National Geographic and then their sister, National Geographic Wild. I love nature programs. Since I don't have either one of those because Grumpy is cheap, I refuse to pay for them. They are pay if I want to pay for them. But like I say, Grumpy is cheap. So I do without National Geographic and National Geographic Wild. Oh, well. So this is kind of refreshing, watching the 2 eaglets as they're growing. And it was really funny because after they got done feeding on the fish, both parents took off. And I was like, wow. First time I've ever seen both parents leave the nest and leave them alone. Well, they were like 2 little kids. Evidently, when mom or dad left, they said, hey, clean your room. They were readjusting all the shit in the nest and moving stuff around, and it was like, oh, they're adjusting their room. But they're cute to watch. Yes, Grumpy does have a soft spot. Don't tell anybody. And then, oh, jeez. I could not believe another plane crash. And this one was really sad. It really was. Because this was an air ambulance. And they had brought this girl in from Mexico that needed life-saving treatment. They didn't go into detail because, secrecy to the family. We don't need to know all that. And whatever procedure they had to do was successful. So they were sending her home. The plane took off and was in the air 60 seconds. And it came down to the ground like a rocket. And of course, when it hit, it blew up, and it hit right in the middle of a mall at the fringe of a neighborhood. And luckily, they were able to, fire department got right on it and got the fires put out. But how sad. Just, they speculate that there had to be twin engine failure on takeoff because the plane went up like, I think they said 13 or 1,400 feet, and then just plummeted to the ground. I mean, it come down like a rocket. The sad thing is that so much of the plane got destroyed, they don't think they're going to really determine what caused it. Now, of course, there's a lot of aviation specialists that are speculating. And they said something like that is referred to as a massive stall. When they took off, they had engine power. So for them to go into a stall, they were either at too steep of a climb angle or they had massive engine failure. But whatever it was instantaneous because they got their takeoff instructions, and as they lifted off, they were told by ground control tower to switch to the outbound frequency. And either the pilot or the co-pilot reported it back, said thank you, good day, and that was the last that was ever heard. The plane went down. And luckily, they have, cameras because it captured a couple of angles of the plane coming down. But it's just sad that it's an air ambulance, and the trip from Mexico to Shriners Hospital in Philadelphia was funded by a private organization because these planes ain't cheap. And they brought the young girl up. Whatever life-saving surgery or whatever it was successful. And she was on her way home to basically recover and rehab. 60 seconds, that's all that plane was in the air. It's almost as bad as the collision with the helicopter and the express jet. To find out that they were 15 seconds from touchdown. You talk about time and space. Had they been 15 seconds behind or 15 seconds ahead, or the helicopter would have been 15 seconds behind or ahead, it would have never happened. But they were at the position that they were. Several pilots that have flown into that airport said they were 15 seconds from wheels down. Two sad occasions back to back. Now, flying is safe, people. There are thousands upon thousands of planes that take off and land every single day. They say you are safer flying than driving in a car. And I know people are nervous because of these two incidents, but believe me, aviation today has the highest safety record of ever. So if you're contemplating flying somewhere, don't worry. These were two basically freak incidents. Really. And to be back to back yet, yeah, I could see how people get nervous. Well, I'll show you something, peoples. Something Grumpy has to do every morning now. Grumpy got his new little blood pressure gauge. Yeah. It goes around your wrist. I'll show you. Oh. Like so. Well, you got to bring it down. It's got to be an inch from the bottom of your hand. There it is. Grumpy's blood pressure meter. Every morning, I have to take my blood pressure and write it down. The doctor gave me pages of charts. But I picked this up because the two that I have both took a shit. And these are for anybody that needs a blood pressure meter like this. These are on sale at Walmart. $14.99. Nice little carrying case. Now, I wasn't paying attention. These require 2 AAA batteries. The next one in the line was rechargeable. Leave it to Grumpy not to check all of them. So, anybody that may need a blood pressure monitor, this is a Metene, Metene, a Metene. Wrist blood pressure monitor. Available Walmart, $14.99. Little handy dandy. Yeah. Although I'm still laughing about what my doctor said. You know, he told me, he says, first thing in the morning, take your blood pressure. But he told me, upon waking, immediately empty your bladder. I says to the doc, I say, Doc, I just bought a new mattress a couple months ago. Can I at least go to the bathroom? He kind of looked at me like, and I knew what he was thinking. Holy fuck, this new patient's an asshole. That's me. I know what he meant. As soon as you wake up, hit the bathroom, sit down, take your blood pressure. But the way he said it, upon waking, immediately empty your bladder. I don't think so, Doc. I'm sure when he got back to the doctor's lounge, he went, hey, guys, you should hear about the asshole I've got for a patient. And then he explained, now hopefully the other doctors kind of had a sense of humor and they got the joke. I could see them sitting there going, I don't get it. You told him when he gets up to empty his bladder. Where's the joke? Well, the joke is the way he said it. Upon awakening, immediately empty your bladder. Now, anybody thinking like Grumpy, would think the same way. Oh, open my eyes, piss myself, then take my blood pressure. Oh. Okay, I know it's a corny joke. And don't tell me you wouldn't have thought the same way. If a doctor said, upon awakening, immediately empty your bladder, you would have thought the same way. Don't tell me you wouldn't. I know you people out there. Yeah. He just gave me that strange look like, oh my God, I'm going to have to put up with this guy. I'm gonna stretch out his appointments. I don't want him here every month. You know. I was looking at the list of bullshit that I've got to go through the month of February. Starting Monday. Monday is the CT scan. And then Wednesday or Thursday, chest x-ray. I'm in the same fucking building. You mean to tell me you couldn't do both of these at the same? As a matter of fact, all three. The following week is when I go in for the aortic MRI. Couldn't we just schedule these all in one day? It's all the same building. Jesus. No. Get a test, go home, come back the next day, get a test, come back 2 days later, get the... And then the list of doctors. Every time he looked at something, he sent me to a doctor. I told you about the podiatrist, the foot guy. I've had this little problem with my big toe on one foot. It's kind of bending. It's been like this for like 6-7 years. It don't bother me. Oh, bothered the doctor. Oh, we got to send you to a podiatrist. Why? Well, it appears that you've got a calcium buildup in the joint. Yeah. Well, we're going to have to scrape it out. What? We ain't... no. Because I have talked to somebody that's had this done before. It's fucking painful when they scrape your joint. I've gone through enough misery already, you know, and then won't be able to drive. So you're gonna confine me to the fucking house? I don't think so. So me and the podiatrist are gonna have a few words. And then I've got a couple of dry patches of skin. It don't fucking bother me. Comes with age. Oh, no, bothered the doctor. Got to send you to a dermatologist. And then, he's listening to my heart. Oh, we got to do an aortic MRI. We did one 6 months ago, Doc. Oh, no, we got to do another one. Then he's feeling my legs, and he goes, And I was like, what's He said, I kind of getting a weak pulse around your ankles. I'm 73, Doc. What do you expect? Oh, no. I have to send you to a vascular doctor. Jesus Christ. And then, after I have the aortic MRI, I have to go see a heart specialist. I told you, folks, when I walked in, I was feeling pretty healthy. When I walked out, I was thinking I had to call the coroner. God, a doctor can ruin your day in a hurry and make you feel like shit. I was driving home going, God, I felt wonderful when I walked in the office. I guess I'm sicker than I thought. I still feel wonderful. All these tests, test after test after test, doctor. You know, when you're back in your 20s, your social calendar is dances and movies and dinners. Once you hit senior age, your social calendar is doctors, blood tests, x-rays, CT scans. Yeah. I wish I had so many appointments on my calendar back in my 20s as I've got today. Jesus Christ. Of course, like I said, I was bad. I hadn't seen a primary care doctor in about 4 or 5 years. So I expected a few tests. Not goddamn War and Peace. Jesus Christ. I couldn't believe it. She handed me an appointment sheet. I said, you got to be fucking kidding me. She goes, oh, no, doctor said. Then, blood work. Blood work equals needle. Grumpy don't do needles. Grumpy's got trypanophobia. Gargle it. I've explained it several times. Trypanophobia. Gargle it. You'll find out what Grumpy has. And no, it's not contagious. And of course, you know, one of the blood tests is going to be cholesterol. Cholesterol comes with more medication. And then it's constant blood tests to see if the medication is working. And of course, you have to definitely change your diet, which means Grumpy can't eat half the goddamn foods he's been eating, because I can guarantee my cholesterol is probably off the chart. It's bad enough. You get fucking old. Then you can't enjoy life and eat the foods you want to eat. No. I can see it now. Cholesterol will come back off the chart. Then I'll have to go see a dietitian. She'll say, oh, Grumpy, instead of bread and butter, eat cardboard. Yeah. She'll be telling me, buy gluten-free bread. Well, you know what's wrong with gluten-free bread, people? In order to taste like anything, it needs gluten. Yeah. Any gluten-free food is as bland as eating sand. And gluten-free food needs gluten in order to taste good. I can see that coming. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. She'll tell me, well, no butter, no salt, no bread, no food. You can subsist on pictures of food. Tear them out of a magazine and eat them. And act like you're enjoying it. I can see that coming. Yeah, but, Any of you youngsters out there, don't ever get fucking old. You'll end up like Grumpy. You'll have a laundry list of doctor's appointments and tests. Oh, yeah, when I get done, I'll be glowing like a nightlight in a 5-year-old's bedroom. So much fun getting old. I can feel my blood pressure. The veins are popping out of my head. We need to change subjects. I can guarantee if they tell me to give up coffee, we're going to have a war in their hands. Yeah. I like my Keurig machine. I've been experimenting with different flavors of coffee. I like that machine. Oh, yes. Because you could start with like a box of 10 or 12 little pods, you know. And if you don't care for the coffee, you're not losing that much. You know, you go through 10 or 12 and you go like, okay. Versus if you buy a can of coffee or a bag of coffee and you don't like it, what are you going to do with it? Throw it away? Oh. So I can experiment, or you can get like what they call a sampler pack. You get a couple pods of each flavor coffee. Yeah, I was looking at one today. It's like 72 pods. And you get 2 or 3 of each different kind of coffee. Then you can make a list. Oh, I like this. I don't like that. I like this. So, if it comes down to Grumpy, you got to cut back on your coffee. I'm going to say, well, I don't think so. End of argument. Grumpy likes his coffee. Na zdrowie. Or as I used to say to my buddy, nice driving you. He'd look at me like, you're an asshole. I already know that. Tell me something different. I used to hear that a lot from my friends. After a while, I got the point. You didn't have to tell me. He didn't think that was too funny. Everybody else did. Yes, was a very interesting week, to say the least. You get old, and they can think of 500 ways to torture your ass and to ruin life. And tell you, oh, you can't eat this, you can't drink that. Of course, they do it because they want you to live longer. Live longer equals more doctor's appointments. Aha! That's why they want you to live longer. More doctor's appointments. I got it. I'm going to tell my doctor, I say, hey, I know why you are running all these tests. And he'll say, why? Because you want me to live longer. He'll say, yes. And then I'm going to tell him, it's so that I can make more doctor's appointments and keep you working. He spread it out amongst his friends this week. Yeah. He probably called all of them and said, hey, I got another one on the hook here for you. Yeah. I'm sending him to 8 different doctors. I'm keeping the work in the house. That's what it is. He's keeping his friends busy. I hope they reciprocate. Although I can't see somebody going to a podiatrist and the podiatrist saying, hey, I think you need a new primary care doctor. No, the primary care doctor's the one that spreads the work around. Oh, and I forgot, yeah, I have to see a proctologist too. Oh, him and I are going to have fun. If he tells me he wants to take that 5-foot-long camera and shove it up my ass, I'm going to tell him, well, demonstrate on yourself first. I want to see how it works. I'm not drinking a gallon of intestinal Drano and spending the next 24 hours with my ass falling out in the toilet. No. I've heard the horror stories about colonoscopies. I don't think so. There has to be an alternate plan B or C instead of plan A. Shit your brains out for 24 hours, then come in, and we're going to take a 5-foot-long camera and shove it up your ass so that we can see your throat. Not for Grumpy. I argued that point. I told Doc, I said, hey, I'm going along with your other shit. We're drawing the line at colonoscopy. I don't think so. Figure out a plan B or plan C. Plan A ain't gonna work. He didn't like that. He just kind of gave me the stink eye. And I said, it ain't happening. I'll go see your proctologist. But if he says 5-foot camera, I'm getting up and leaving. That'll be one doctor we'll cross off the list. Yeah. I don't know how I forgot that one. That one's the real torture doctor. Here's this gallon of intestinal Drano. And then what makes it worse, you got to drink this shit within an hour. In my younger days, I didn't drink a gallon of beer in an hour. Here, intestinal Drano, drink this. Then spend the next 24 hours having ass explosions. Then, if you're not too weak, come into the hospital and we'll shove a 5-foot camera up your ass. I don't think so. End of story. That was the only one I argued with him about. When he said blood test, I was like, okay. When he said proctologist, I said, no. I was waiting for him to say, don't act like a baby. Yeah. Yeah. Like that flying bottom ass. You know, the ones that they're little vampires. When I told her, I said, you're going to use a butterfly, right? She goes, oh, no. I said, oh, yes. And she said, don't act like a baby. So I told her, give me a big needle, like the big needle you're going to stick me with. And we're going to stick each other at the same time. And let's see who's better at it. Next thing you know, the butterfly came out. She was like, okay, here you go. Oh, yeah. I just stuck her all right. Here, Zorro. Yeah, I told her, I said, give me one of them needles. She goes, you're not trained. I said, well, then I'm going to learn on your arm. You're not sticking me with that big-ass needle. End of story. Oh, don't be like a baby. I almost got up and walked out. Then out came the little butterfly. I was like, okay. Now we're talking. See, they don't like using them because it takes 3 times longer to get like 5 vials of blood. That's okay. I'm retired. I got the time. But see, they don't want you sitting there that long. No. They want you in and out. Here, let me shove this garden hose up your arm so I can get 5 vials real fast. We're going to make your day interesting, sweetheart. We're going to do 1 vial at a time. How's that? Slowly, with a butterfly needle. Yeah, I know. Grumpy's a pain in the ass. And a baby. It's my arm, not yours. I'll tell you what you're going to stick in my arm. And it ain't going to be a garden hose. Already went through that shit. No more. 20-gauge needle. It's like a garden hose. Next time you go for blood work, ask the flat bottom ass to show you that needle. And you'll cringe too. It's like a garden hose. I don't know why they call it a 20 gauge. They should just call it a garden hose. Give me a garden hose. I need to draw some blood. Yeah. It's like the doctor said, gee, looking at your chart, you're way overdue for this vaccine and this vaccine and this vaccine and this vaccine. And I said, yes, I am. He said, well, let me make an appointment and we'll get them all taken care of. I said, do any of them vaccines come in an oral prescription? Why, no. That's why I'm overdue, Doc. Because when you request a little needle, they tell you, oh, no, we can't. No. Well, if you're not going to use a little needle, you're not sticking anything in my arm. So, yes, I'm overdue on a lot of vaccines. I've been pretty healthy. Just goes to show you, you don't really need them. So now you know what kind of an asshole Grumpy is when it comes to injections. If it don't come in an oral form, I guess I didn't need it that much. What do you left? Bird back there making jokes. I'm not going to let you watch your relatives tomorrow. Oh, yeah, he was loving it, watching the eaglets. As I turned on the side computer over here, and he was cranking his neck. And every time Mom came in to feed them, he was opening his mouth like, how about me? I told him it's on a monitor, you idiot. The bird ain't right there. But yeah, I let him watch the eaglets today. Now he's going to want to watch them every day. I started something. But it is fun watching them little eaglets. They're just starting to flap their wings. Matter of fact, the one was making me nervous. He was getting kind of close to the edge of the nest. He was looking over, and then I guess he decided, holy shit, that's a long fall. Yeah, them eagles, they build them nests way up in the top of big trees. Yeah, he was kind of edging over. I was like, oh no, we're going to lose an eaglet. But then his senses kicked in and he kind of backed up. And he was like, oh, stay away from the edge of the nest. I can't wait until they're getting ready to fly. Because they're really hilarious. They start flapping their wings. They jump up and down in the nest. Like, I'm going to take off. And then they change their mind like, oh, I'm not ready yet. But yeah, when little eaglets start building up their wing strength, they're hilarious. They flap their wings and they jump up and down in the nest like little kids. Neither one of them are ready for that yet. No. And the neat thing is, they got all these fluffy little feathers. Oh, yeah, they little balls of fluff. Dasher and Dancer. I don't know which one's which. They didn't say on the website. I'm going to have to go in the chat tomorrow and ask them which one is which, because they have a live chat. You can ask questions and they answer you. So I'm going to ask them tomorrow, which bird is which? Is the big one Dasher or is that one Dancer? That way I can find out. Because I'm rooting for the little guy. Yeah. I want him to grow up to be like his big brother. Yeah, I hadn't realized that a hatching 2 or 3 days between birds, the difference in size. Yeah, his brother is beefy. You can tell. I'm like, oh, gee. And then when the one parent was feeding the big guy and kind of ignoring the little guy, I was like, hey, feed the little one. But then the other parent would come back and he'd feed the little one first. And I was like, yeah, okay. So yeah, it was sad though. The big one got fish, and the little one got feathers. Oh yeah. You know, there's not a lot of meat on birds. So she was plucking that skin off. He was gagging on them feathers. I was like, oh, come on. Feed him some fish. Of course, the next time whichever parent came back with the fish, the little guy got the fish first. And boy, I'll tell you what, that must have been good fish. Because he was edging his brother out like, hey, I'm eating this shit. I think his brother got the head and the tail. There wasn't much fish left when the little guy got done eating. Go and watch it yourself. You don't even have to be a nature lover. It's just cute to watch. 2 baby bald eagles. And how their parents take care of them. It's really interesting. I was having a ball watching them today. Like I say, I had it on all day, but then it got too dark. Although the camera does run 24 hours a day. So if there's any moonlight, you kind of get a glimpse of them. But I don't think the parents are out food hunting at night. But yeah, cameras run 24/7. You can watch them little eaglets all day long. Or other cameras. They've got about either 7 or 10 different, they're located all over down in that area of Florida. Where are they at? Captiva Island. That's where the cameras are. Captiva Island, Florida. And they're all over the island. But the nest with Connie and Clive is the busiest. Yeah, those 2 parents are working all day long. They just keep bringing food back. Them little birdies are pigs. Believe me, I didn't see either one step back and go, I'm full. Check it out, people. You'll enjoy it. Even if you're not a nature grumpy. It's nature lover, not nature lover. No. That's another thing when you get old. Your mouth don't want to work right. You don't have to be a nature lover to enjoy watching bald eagles grow up. They're a national bird. Why wouldn't you want to watch them? Plus, they're neat with their white heads. I don't know why they didn't call them white-head eagles. Why did they call them bald eagles? They got feathers. It's just that the feathers are white. They're not bald. I know, Grumpy, you're an asshole. But I always wondered that. Why did they call them bald eagles? Because they look bald from a distance? Is that some, what the hell do they call them? Bird watcher. There's the professional term. Some bird watcher went, oh, look, there's some eagles way up in that tree. And they look like they're bald. We'll call them bald eagles. And then when they got better binoculars, oh, those are white feathers. Why don't we call them white featherhead eagles? Too late. We already called them bald. Back in the day, the binoculars weren't that good. That's probably the way it happened. He was looking up going, oh, them birds don't have any feathers on their head. They're bald. We'll call them bald eagles. They're not bald. They got white feathers on their head. But they're our national bird. There you go. Anytime a foreign country pisses us off, we'll tell them, hey, we're going to give you the bird. And then they send them a bald eagle. Giving you the bird. Yeah, that would be an interesting conversation between two heads of state. I'm going to give you the bird. Oh, yeah? Then I'll smack the shit out of you. And then hand them an eagle. There you go. It's never going to happen, but it would be hilarious. Maybe I could get Saturday Night Live to do a skit like that. I'm going to give you the bird. I'll kick the shit out of you and give me the bird. Here, have an eagle. I'm going to write Saturday Night Live. I want them to do that skit. I think it would be funny. I know everybody's like, oh, Grumpy, you're an asshole. I already convinced you of that. I told you. I know. But I think it would be a funny skit. Especially if they were dressed like early settlers. You know, like when the redcoats were around. I could see the American colonialist walking up to a redcoat going, I'm going to give you the bird. He pulls down his gun. Then the settler goes, here, have an eagle. I would think it was funny. I know I got a sick sense of humor, but I'm going to write Saturday Night Live. I think that would be a cool skit. I'd laugh at it. I'm going to write Lorne Michaels. God, he's been around 50 years doing that show. I'm surprised they can keep coming up with ideas for funny skits. I'm going to write him about giving him the bird. See what happens. I wonder if he has an email. I'll have to gargle it. Lorne Michaels, Saturday Night Live. See if he's got an email. Then I'll send him the email with my idea for a skit. And then he'll send me one back going, big letters, rejected. Was worth a shot. I guess I'll have to do my own skit. And then put it on YouTube and send it to him. Boy, we were all over the place today, weren't we? Although, I like my new studio. One of these days I'm going to go back and sit on the couch. Although the set designers told me it's just for looks. They put a couch in my studio. We're not allowed to sit on it. Same thing with the chair in front of the bird. Not allowed to sit in that either. And the coffee table. Can't use it. It's just for looks. What good's a studio? Why do we have all these fancy studio lights if we can't sit on the furniture? Oh, no, you can't sit on it, Grumpy. It's just for looks. It's for effect. Okay. I'm going to sneak in here some night, and I'm going to sleep on that couch. I'll fix them. Just for looks. Can't sit on it. Just for looks. Coffee table. Can't use it. Just for looks. They build me a studio, and it's just for looks. That's all right. This one's mine. I'll sneak in here after hours. I'll bribe the security guard with a deluxe pizza. I'll tell him, look the other way. I'm going down to my studio, and I'm going to sleep on the couch. I'll fix him. I might even fart on that couch. Break it in. Mark my territory. Oh. Oh, geez. Well, I'm going to do the playback and see how this microphone sounds. If it's too loud, folks, I'm sorry. I haven't used it in ages. I wanted to try it out, and I'm not sure how the volume was adjusted before. So if it's too loud, at least I gave you a trigger warning in the beginning. I'll check it tonight, and then I'll adjust it. And with that, I think it's time to do the outro. What happened to my... Oh, geez, I lost my stylus and my clicker. All right, here we go. We got to catch it. Almost. Oh, Grumpy's getting good at stopping the intro music. Oh, we know where. The WDWL TV multiplex. The Grumpy Studio. Around 7 p.m. We're getting better, folks. And with that, we will meet again. Same place tomorrow night. And I bid you a wonderful evening. See ya.